Hello everyone, I hope you're hungry because today we're talking about food. That's right, those 3 meals plus snacks that you eat every day have been the subjects of artworks for centuries. Today we'll see 4 artworks in the Akron Art Museum's collection, all dealing with food. First things first though, let's go shopping. This painting, titled Food City, was created by Richard Estes. Richard Estes was part of a group in the 1960s and 70s referred to as photorealists. Their work and images are based on photographs, not reality itself, and not memory or drawings that they made on site. Is that reflected in what you see here? The image does look very realistic. We can certainly tell where we are. We could probably also tell what time of day it is, and maybe even what specific city this could be in. Can you tell? The artist has given us essentially 2 scenes to look at here. Yes, we have the inside of the shop. We see cashiers, we see signs, we see food products stacked on shelves, certainly. But if you look harder, what else can you see? If you look closely, you might start to notice tall buildings, a yellow car, a white van, dappled sunlight going through leaves on trees. Do you see that? That's right. The artist has placed the viewer outside of the shop window, so we see the reflection of the city on the glass and then the store within. This certainly feels like a very realistic scene. You could almost imagine jumping into the store and placing some things on a conveyor belt and walking out with a bag full of groceries. There's a lot of energy here and certainly a lot for your eye to see as well. This work really benefits from some close looking. So slow down and let your eye wander from top to bottom, left to right, and from deep in the scene to very shallow in the scene. I tend to notice something different every time I look at this scene. It might even seem a little silly or childish, but something I like to do with this painting is to play I Spy. So if you feel like challenging a friend or family member or classmate to a game of I Spy for this one, you could probably keep yourself occupied for at least a half hour. At first glance, this painting does appear very realistic. It seems like it actually could be a photograph, perhaps the one that Estes worked from. But if you're able to zoom in on your screen or really just take a closer look, you will be able to see the artist's hands and a little bit of his process. You'll see the brush strokes and areas in which he's layered up the paint to create depth. Alright, that's enough shopping for one day. It's time to get to actual eating. Let's start with a little breakfast. Here we have a photograph called Body Limits by Sandy Skoglund. Give yourself a minute to just look and try to figure out what is going on here. Have you figured it out? This was a scene that Skoglund constructed in real life. It contains 1 chair, 2 mannequins, and what is the pattern on all of these objects? Perhaps my hint of breakfast gave it away, but you're right, it's bacon. Bacon from a 30-pound package in which the artist has covered a wall, floor, 2 mannequins, and a chair. Skoglund often worked in this way, creating surreal scenes that seem like they could be out of a dream or even a movie. She liked to work conceptually like this and turn something mundane into something extraordinary. There's another work in the museum's collection that is very dreamlike, at least in my opinion. It is a photograph of a boy sitting on the edge of a bed, and there are goldfish flying around his head all around the room. If you have a chance, look that one up as well. Skoglund was self-taught as a photographer, so she would often do this conceptual work and create these sort of scenes, and she used photography because it was necessary to create a memory or some sort of lasting document of the scenes that she created. All right, for any of you fellow vegetarians out there, I am ready to move on to something that I would like to see on my menu. Pizza, anyone? That's right, here we have Flying Pizza by Klaus Oldenburg. It's a lithograph on paper, which is a kind of print, so that means that it is not on view very often at the museum. Any work on paper, such as a print, a photograph, or a drawing, is pretty fragile. Works on paper can only be on view for 6 months at a time, and then need to rest away from light and humidity for about 3 years. Luckily, we get to see this one digitally now. And we have a flying pizza that I always like to imagine is rolling down a hill. It is very playful, maybe even can be argued as a little bit silly. But what Oldenburg liked to do was to take everyday objects and make them like monuments, giving them importance or a big presence. So he used objects such as lipstick, hamburgers, baseball mitts. And the museum owns actually another food-related artwork, a relief sculpture of a tea bag. So if you have a chance, look that one up as well. Are you familiar with any other works by Claes Oldenburg? There happens to be one in the lobby of the museum. It is large, very heavy, and pink. If that's not sparking any memories, or if you haven't been able to visit the Akron Art Museum, search the artist's name in the online collection and you'll find the inverted Q. It is a large sculpture that greets visitors as they walk in the door and was actually commissioned for the city of Akron. All right, we've been working really hard, and perhaps it's time for a sweet treat. Let's move on to our last artwork. Cupcakes. Here we have The Dirty Dozen by Kristen Cliffel. Cliffel is actually an Ohio artist, and she created this work from ceramic. It's hard to get a sense of scale from the photograph, but these cupcakes are a little bit larger than life, just as the concept here. They seem a little cartoonish, super delicious, something that you would maybe dream of if you're really, really craving a cupcake. These cupcakes look almost delicious enough to eat, and there's good reason for that. Kristen herself is a baker. Well, not professionally, but she does love to cook, bake, and feed people. And this is a good reflection of that. However, the message here is not only sweet. Cliffel grapples with a lot of questions that many contemporary women do. The artist seeks to be an outstanding wife, mother, and artist, which is no small feat. What message do we have on these sweet treats, though? I don't see any happy birthdays written out here. No, on top of the cupcakes, the artist has written out questions that she asks of herself, such as, what was I thinking? And can I get a do-over? You can see that life isn't always sweet. Part of the reason these treats look so delicious is the artist's process. Cliffel uses a real pastry bag to squeeze out the decorative frosting you see here. She waters down clay enough so that it will squeeze through the decorative tip on a pastry bag and create the swirls and peaks and valleys that you would see in actual cake frosting. Are you full yet? If you're still hungry for more, there's lots more to be seen at the Akron Art Museum or via our online collection. Visit akronartmuseum.org to search the online collection.